Good afternoon. I would like to now call the City of South Fulton Public Facility Authority meeting to order. Clerk, can you please sound the roll?
Yes, ma'am. This is the roll call for the Public Facilities Authority, a special meeting, October 20th, 2025. The Honorable Catherine F. Rao, District 1.
Present.
The Honorable Carmelita Gomes, District 2.
Present.
The Honorable J.C. Sebastian, District 4.
Present.
The Honorable Keosha B. Bell, District 5.
Present.
The Honorable Natasha Williams Brown, District 6.
Present.
And Althea Phillip Bradley and myself are present as the Treasurer and Secretary. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Can you sound the next item, please?
Next item is Roman numeral 3, request Public Facility Authority approval of meeting minutes from September 9th, 2025.
I would like to entertain a motion.
I move to approve the public facility meeting minutes from September 9th, 2025.
Second. It's been moved and properly second. Can we take this vote in the portal?
Let me see if everyone's in. Vote is open. That motion was approved unanimously 5-0.
All right, thank you. And can you sound the next item, please?
Yes, the next item is letter A, a bond resolution of the City of South Fulton Public Facilities Authority authorizing the issuance of revenue bond, Public Safety Facilities Project, Series 2025 in the original principal amount of $96,285,000 and to establish funds and accounts for the deposit of proceeds of the bond, approve an intergovernmental agreement, and for other related purposes.
All right, City Manager.
Good afternoon, PFA. I'd like to read a memo that I wrote to you last week along with the bond documents. The City of South Fulton and Regions Bank have been unsuccessful in reaching favorable or acceptable terms regarding funding for the forthcoming police headquarters and fire training center and headquarters. While this was an unanticipated development, we remain hopeful and focused on advancing this initiative in alignment with our community and economic objectives. The city is moving forward with recommending the next best bid and is fortunate to have Truist as a valuable partner. The Public Facilities Authority, you will, and the City Council will have the opportunity to review the bond resolution and intergovernmental agreement today. We remain committed to transparency and due diligence as we evaluate the opportunity and to securing an outcome that supports the long-term financial operations and interests of the City of South Fulton. Our bond attorney, Doug Selby, is here, and our financial advisor, Doug Wall, is also here, and I can turn it over to them to answer any further questions.
Hello, Madam Chair, board members, good afternoon to y'all. So you have before you a bond resolution. That bond resolution approves the intergovernmental contract between you and the city guaranteeing the payment of the bonds. It's $96,285,000. Truist has an interest rate of 4.63%. Remember, it's prepayable in year 5 and thereafter with no prepayment penalty. I was able to negotiate with Truist an additional option for you. Every year during those first 5 years, you can pay up to 10% per year of the outstanding principal balance with no prepayment penalty. So that was a great new addition that we got. Same 20-year maturity. It's just like we talked about before. It's just a different bank, Truist instead of Regions.
Clerk, do we have any members in the new speakers?
No, ma'am.
All right. At this point in time, we'll go ahead and close that out. All right. Next steps. All right.
I move to adjourn the public facilities.
I will entertain a motion to approve the bond resolution.
Second. Second.
It's been moved. It's been moved and properly second. Can we take this vote inside of the portal?
That motion was approved unanimously 5-0 to approve the bond resolution for $96,285,000 and the intergovernmental agreement.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. You can take this by a show of hands.
Court, that motion approved 5-0. We are adjourned at 4:07 PM.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 4:30 special called meeting. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
It's a roll call for the 4:30 PM special call meeting. The Honorable Catherine F. Rao, District 1.
Present.
The Honorable Carmelita Gomes, District 2.
Present.
The Honorable Helen Z. Willis, District 3.
Present.
The Honorable J.C. Sebastian, District 4.
Here.
The Honorable Keosha B. Bell, District 5.
Present.
The Honorable Natasha Williams Brown, District 6.
Present.
And the Honorable Linda B. Pritchett, District 7, is present via Zoom.
Mr. Clerk, please sound the first item.
Oh, hey, I'm here. This is Mayor Pro Tem Linda Pritchett, here, present. Thank you.
I have you, and Mayor Pro Tem, if you do need to or wish to speak, you can go ahead and text me.
Sure thing. Thank you very much.
All right, please sound the first item.
First item on tonight's agenda is a resolution of mayor and council to request the issuance by the City of South Fulton Public Facilities Authority of its revenue bond Public Safety Facilities Project, Series 2025, in the original amount of $96,285,000, and to award the sale to Truist Commercial Equity Incorporated as the most responsive bidder and to approve an intergovernmental agreement.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion.
You got a presentation.
Oh, we have a presentation. Go ahead. Madam City Manager, I understand you have a presentation.
I don't have a presentation, but I wanted to read this memo into the record that was emailed to you. The City of South Fulton and Regions Bank have been unsuccessful in reaching favorable or acceptable terms regarding funding for the forthcoming police headquarters and fire headquarters and training center. While this is an unexpected and unanticipated development, we remain hopeful and focused on advancing this initiative in alignment with our community and economic objectives. The city is moving forward with recommending to you the next best bid and is fortunate to have Truist as a valuable partner. Earlier today, the Public Facilities Authority voted to accept the resolution and the IGA, and that resolution and IGA are in front of you now. We remain committed to the transparency and due diligence as we evaluate this opportunity and to securing an outcome that supports the long-term financial and operational interests of the City of South Fulton. Thank you for your support, and I'll turn it over to our financial advisor, Ed Wall, and our bond counsel, Doug Selby.
Thank you, Ms. Subadin. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. You have before you a city authorizing resolution to authorize the intergovernmental contract between the PFA and you backing the bonds. The bonds are same 20 years that you approved before. It's just with Truist rather than Regions. The interest rate is 4.63%. You can still prepay them after 5 years with no prepayment penalty, the same 20-year term. I did negotiate with Truist that for the first 5 years, when they're not prepayable without a prepayment penalty, you could pay up to 10% each year of the outstanding principal balance without a prepayment penalty. And that was a really great new wrinkle that we did that I really think that adds for you a whole lot of options that you can prepay it if interest rates were to go down 10% per year for the first 5 years. With that, I'm open for questions.
I didn't bring my computer, but.
All right, the chair recognizes Councilwoman Willis.
So when we reported out to the public, because there will be a lot of commentary about this, we reported that Regents agreed to allow us to move forward with debt financing without having to raise the mill rate. And can you explain what happened? I mean, I know you don't have all of the details of their internal decision making, but what made them say yes and then come back later and say no? Because I just want us to be transparent.
Yes, ma'am. So it had nothing to do with the millage rate cap. We still have the 13.469 millage rate cap. We're borrowing the money underneath that cap. There's no agreement that you're going to raise the cap, eliminate it, or anything. The cap is still there, and the reason we couldn't wind up trading with Regions had nothing to do with the millage rate cap. They didn't like the PFA as the issuer, and they wanted us to use a URA. And in order to use a URA, you have to, under Georgia law, declare an area blighted. And some of the areas where these facilities are going to go have $500,000, $1 million homes. And the city manager didn't think that you would want to declare that area blighted. And so we traded with another entity that had no problem using the PFA.
And their hesitation for the PFA, is it because it's a newly formed authority?
They had convoluted reasons that I'm not capable of telling you what they were.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to make the motion to approve the measure as sounded by the clerk.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded. Let's take this historic vote online for those who are available, and then we'll get the rest of your votes by voice.
Clerk, I approve.
Okay, yes for Councilor Willis. You want yes? Yes for Councilmember Gomes. Councilmember, want a yes?
It's a yes for Mayor Pro Tem. It just doesn't come up in my queue. I'm logged in though.
Okay, thank you. I've so noted. Are you, okay. That motion was approved unanimously to approve the resolution by mayor and council for the issuance of the revenue bonds and also the intergovernmental agreement. 7-0.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Please sound the next item.
Next item is discussion, campaign sign policy enforcement.
Mayor.
All right, the chair recognizes Councilwoman Willis. Is everybody else able to get into the queue? But it's just by a show of hands. Is anybody else not able to get into the queue? All right, I just want to make sure that I don't miss people. So I've got you, Dr. Rao, and okay, and Pritchett. So she's in. Okay, Rao, Gums, and Willis. So I'll start with Councilman Willis.
It is my understanding that it is the pleasure of some that they would like to not discuss this in detail. I am not bringing this to bring any type of controversy, and I want to dispel the rumor that I heard some of my colleagues imply that I am trying to fix a policy to benefit my campaign in 2026. Again, my campaign is in 2026. I'm not on the ballot for 2025. But what I have heard from several candidates is that they have been, that the city of South Fulton has been more punitive than other cities. We have had mayors complain about receiving citation for their signs being, other mayors from other cities being in the right of way. We've had complaints and commentary all over next door of people getting cited for signs being displayed in their windows. You know, we are a voting block of over 80,000 registered voters. And historically, for the past few elections, we have had low turnout. One of the things that I have historically heard since we have had this ordinance in play is that people don't even know that we have elections. I understand the intent of this legislation because we had issues with people not picking up their signs. We've had issues with people finding signs in the sewer. But there are a lot of unintended consequences that came out of putting this ordinance in play. And the unintended consequences are not to be punitive towards candidates who work hard, raise money to pay for their signs. The unintended consequences is not to, have people having to be cited and show up in court for frivolous reasons. And South Fulton has a bad reputation when it comes to a lot of things. The last thing I want is for us to have a reputation for disenfranchising voters and not encouraging people to vote and not letting people that there are elections in play. Again, I understand if my colleagues don't want to move on this measure, but there is legislation, correct, Mrs. Davis, that we're supposed to be bringing back? Because we met and discussed this sign ordinance. It's Mrs. Subadan. Well, one of y'all, I know we met and we discussed this and they were supposed to be bringing legislation back. And I haven't seen the legislation. And I would love to, if my colleagues don't want to discuss or move on this today, or consider at least letting the signs be placed at the precincts without being pulled up. Allowing the signs to be placed in precincts legally without signs being pulled up. I think we should at least make that accommodations, because I was told that even at the precincts, people's signs were being pulled up. That's the complaint that I have received. That's the complaint that I have received, and I know in the last election cycle, my signs were pulled up from precincts. Councilmember Bell, your signs were pulled up because I called you and told you your signs were pulled up, and I still have some of your signs in my garage because I called and told you I picked the signs up for you. I don't think that was fair of us. We dealt with it, but I don't think that was fair. So I've never been cited for violating any sign policy. I will comply with whatever is on the books, but I don't want to be known in this city as being more punitive than other cities, disfranchising voters, not making sure residents know that we have an election. That was not the intent of this legislation, and I want all candidates to know that. And I want to put something on record regarding that. Thank you. And I'm here. I'll yield so that I can hear. Want to hear what you have to say, Ms. Davis. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments and concerns, Councilwoman Willis. So yes, we did meet concerning signs, and we talked about several factors concerning signs beyond the campaign signs at that meeting. And when we talked about the campaign signs, there were some concerns raised, and we did have the city attorney's office member there at our meeting, and there were concerns about making special provisions for campaign signs, which we felt was a concern and being out of compliance with federal laws. So with that, I will defer to the city attorney's office to address that, but I believe that was what held up moving forward in addressing some of the discussions we had at that meeting. To address the issue of the polls, we are aware that we are in early election time, and of course, the nature of this process is putting signs near the polls. So we will not be enforcing issues concerning signs at the polls. So we are not lifting up signs at the polls. That's part of the process, and so we truly understand that. So if there's a case of people lifting polls, I'm sorry, not polls, but signs at the polls, it may not be a code enforcement officer, but they've received their instructions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, she wants to be in the queue. Do you want to wait till the end, or you want to hop in now? Well, can we put, the city attorney right after me? And did you have something as well?
I'm gonna get in the queue.
Mayor, I had 1 minute and 21 minutes, but what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna go ahead and yield, because I know you have a lot of other people who wanna speak on this, and I'll go back in the queue afterwards.
Okay, well, one, there's no yielding, but,
No, I'm saying I'm gonna yield my time, I'm gonna yield, I'm gonna stop.
okay, got you,
Okay.
got you. And you can, go ahead and put, Councilwoman Bell, I'm gonna let you go before me. Councilwoman Rowell.
The campaign sign ordinance complies with state law, period. And there have been violations all over the city because I've seen signs everywhere, which the whole intent was to protect from signs being everywhere in the city. And if I recall, I thought that I think it was previously opined that the state laws regarding distance from voting precincts govern campaign locations, the actual polling locations. So I don't see how there can be a conflict because both of them are in fact state law. So I am looking forward to hear with the city attorneys, but I don't know, we didn't seem to have all these issues the last time we ran. I don't know, and I know the clerk has sent out multiple emails explaining to candidates what the policy is. I don't know, they just haven't regarded it or whatever, but I am looking forward to your response on that because both of them are in fact state laws.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Pritchett.
Thank you so much for acknowledging me. So I do want to bring, I guess, chime in and add my 10 cents to this conversation. There always has been a problem with the yard signs, the campaign signs at polling location. And the biggest problem is that it is well, at the polling precincts, there's a sign, a red diamond that indicates that you can't campaign 150 yards, to the precinct. And it's delineated, it's clear. When candidates place signs at precincts, it does let voters know that, hey, you have an election. And it also lets them know who you have the option to vote for. Many times, the biggest problem is the precinct or the poll workers or the poll manager is not aware or does not understand state law. And so when they open up, they start pulling the signs. So if candidates are not there early enough, their signs get taken. I've been at a precinct where my signs were about to get taken. I think Councilwoman Willis's signs were about to get taken. I've seen a lot of like crazy stuff. And I actually have been approached by our own police department. This is prior to me getting on council. But even our officers are not made aware of understanding the state law regarding these things. I think that there needs to be a clear communication as far as we're concerned with our city election superintendent and the poll managers for the different precincts that we have in our city boundaries. Because when they make decisions that, oh, it's just too many signs, I don't like it, I'm just taking it, they illegally are taking yard signs that do not belong to them, and they are disenfranchising the candidates, whether they are elected officials or whether they are just straight candidates, and it's wrong. I do believe that we should pass something to make it clear, although we have state law, we're just coming in compliance to state law, and we're just making it clear that it is acceptable to have campaign signs properly situated at the voter precincts so that they don't start acting crazy, they don't get, to acting funny, they don't go to calling our code enforcement to try to come and remove signs. It just makes it clear across the board that those signs should be there. If you don't have signs there, people don't know there's an election. People don't know who the candidates are. It's tough enough for candidates who are running, trying to get their name recognition up and get their visibility. It's really tough. And so I believe that we should pass a measure to make it clear, because when I've ran in other seats, actually during early voting periods, when I've ran, and there are precincts that you can vote at throughout Fulton County, other cities don't have the problems that we have. Other cities do not have precinct managers that just take up the signs. I don't know what it is with the city of South Fulton that people want to hate on candidates. And I think it's wrong. I don't think that as an elected official that we should have any more of an advantage than the candidate who is out here doing the same thing, grinding the same way, trying to get elected or trying to appeal to voters. So that's my 10 cents, my 50 cents, and I will yield saying that. Thank you very much.
All right, Councilwoman Bell.
I just had a quick question in regards to the signs. I know the issues that we had last year were at the Flat Shows Library, and it is on a fine line between the school as well as the library. And so that needs to be clearly defined to all candidates on which side, because I believe we were on both sides and then they took them down and had us to place them on an additional side. It was a lot of confusion. And so I think if we give that information in advance and definitely speak to the school board to find out where that line is, what their expectations are, because this is an election year and we don't want people to not see the signs. However, we know that there is a fine line, especially at that precinct. That's all I have.
Okay, just a couple quick thoughts. First, whether we have this ordinance or not, because, I would be in favor of just abolishing the ordinance. But even if we did that, as Councilwoman Rowell has pointed out, there are still state laws governing signage in the right of way. And also, might I just reiterate, signage that is affixed to traffic signs. I have seen that. People are fixing things to the speed limit signs or to the pedestrian crossing signs. That is against the law throughout Georgia. So anybody that's doing that, just know that you are breaking state law. And any officer, any law enforcement officer empowered by the state can write a ticket, arrest you, do all of the things, right? First, I want to say I agree with Councilwoman Willis 100%. And we actually agreed on this. I will send you all the clip. When we first discussed this issue in August of 2022, I raised these issues of voter awareness, and I also raised this issue of the punitive nature of this law. You may remember, Councilwoman Willis, I was like, we have these overzealous supporters that can take signs from our events and put them all over the place, and then we're responsible because our names are on the signs. I thought you came up with one good thing, and I would like to get some feedback from the city manager when I'm done about this 1 day notice period that people are given 24 hours to take their signs down. I also suggested it wasn't agreed on at the time, but I will offer it again, a 45-day grace period before and after elections, which would cover both early voting and any runoff, because the runoff happens within 30 days. So people would still have 2 weeks after a runoff to get their signs off. I think that 45-day grace period might be something that we want to revisit. And then I just want to say this thing. I actually got into politics working on campaigns. My first job in politics was working for the legendary Stacey Abrams, and I have consulted so many campaigns since that time. And I always tell candidates, people always get really emotional about these signs. They taking my signs. Somebody's stealing my signs. They're doing all these things. And sometimes it's malicious, but sometimes it's actually not. There are times that I've gone by people's houses and either they or their lawn service took the sign up to cut the grass and the sign is in their garage, right? I think I know we pay a lot for these signs and people get emotional about them, but I want all the candidates under the sound of my voice in this room, watching online, and who may replay this later. Sometimes things just happen, and if you buy 100 signs, 50 of them are going to be missing by the end of your campaign. It is just the cost of doing business. And so we've just got to be careful when we throw out these accusations and all of these things. Sometimes it's nothing malicious whatsoever. Things just happen. A dog can rip the sign. All sorts of things can happen, and it's probably not what you think it is. Although sometimes it is, and even in those cases, it's hard to prove who did it, and you will spend more money trying to go after somebody than it would cost to just order some more signs. And with that, I will turn it over to our city attorney, Ms. Kelly.
So a few things. I understand, one, with this being election season, and as the mayor noted, and I know that people can get emotionally attached to their signs and things of that nature. I also want to make it abundantly clear that there was a memo sent to you all some weeks ago now concerning this, that the law of the land in the Reed case, and that's 576 US 155 2015, so a fairly recent case. This case is not a Fulton County Superior Court case. This case is not a Georgia Court of Appeals case. This case is not even a Georgia Supreme Court case. This is a United States Supreme Court case. And in that case, the court noted that the ordinance defined the signs into categories based upon what the sign said, and then placed restrictions upon the signs in accordance with the categories. The ordinance was found to favor certain kinds of messages and to disfavor other kinds of messages, and was therefore found to be a violation of the First Amendment. The Supreme Court of the United States noted throughout its opinion that it did not matter that the town of Gilbert was not trying to promote one viewpoint over another. The court stated, and I quote, "Innocent motives do not eliminate the danger of censorship presented by a facially content-based statute. What mattered is that certain types of messages were given favorable status over other types of messages. In this content, it would be election signs over other types of signs. The state law is 21-2-414A subsection 1, 2, and 3, where it says that you cannot post campaign material within 150 feet of the outer edge of any building within which a polling place is established, within a polling place, or within 25 feet of any voter standing in line to vote at any polling place." So I would just encourage the council that whatever solution you come up with, that I would just keep these parameters in mind, the state law as well as the United States Supreme Court, which is included in the memo you all received. Thank you.
The chair recognizes Councilman Sebastian.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney, can you tell us what the state law is surrounding removal and blockage of state signs? Of campaign signs, sorry.
So I can't tell you specifically what the state law is regarding vandalism of signs, but there is there's recourse that if your property is being vandalized, removed, or destroyed, then you can either file a police report or you can file a complaint with the State Board of Elections.
So you're telling me there's no law against blocking or obstructing signs?
That wasn't my response. I'm unsure of what the state law is concerning blocking signs, but if that is consistently happening, then you should contact the State Board of Elections for advice.
All right, thank you. There is law against blocking and obstructing, as well as taking and vandalizing signs. So that we need to be clear, so that when we're having these type of discussions here and in the future, then we can make that up absolutely clear too.
All right. We're about to head to Councilman Willis. I did just want to add two more things, and that is, one, I do want to make sure that whatever we're doing, hearing Attorney Kelly's opinion or the reiteration of the Supreme Court's opinion that whatever we're doing, whatever sort of enforcement we do for candidates, we have to make sure that we are also accountable as a city, because I still see national night out signs in the right of way, right? And so I want to make sure that we're getting all of our signs up before we try to enforce it. And then lastly, I would just say, um, I am greatly concerned that this law puts our code enforcement officials in an extremely uncomfortable position. They have to regulate the elected officials who, make their budget and have influence over all sorts of things in their department, and people who might become their elected officials, and so you don't want anyone walking into these offices with a chip on their shoulder about code enforcement because they feel that they were unfairly targeted. So I do have that concern. And with that, I will yield to Councilwoman Willis.
What was the guideline around election polls, Attorney Kelly?
It's 21-2-414.
What was the criteria? Footage?
150 feet from the outer edge of any building within which a polling place is established, within any polling place, or within 25 feet of any voter standing in line to vote at any polling place.
Okay, and we are already doing that because they have polling supervisors who will come out and tell you to move your sign if they're not in the right place. So, with that being said, I like what the mayor said, that we should give a 45-day grace period before and after the election. I do want I will make a motion that we suspend the rules and give a 45-day grace period before and after the municipal election or any election. We can bring an amendment to the ordinance back. And I will also, well, that's one of my motions. 45-day period before and after the election, with the exception of not allowing code to still cite if any signs are posted in our right-of-way signage, such as stop signs. What are those stop? Those are the rules of the road sign. Traffic signs. Traffic signs. Did I correct that? Because I want to make sure that we do not allow those signs to be posted on our traffic signs.
So I do believe that that is the state law, that they're not supposed to do that. And I agree with the mayor that whatever we do for one, we should do for all. If there are still night out signs, those should be picked up. I do want to caution that this 45-day period before or after enforcing, in order to not run afoul of Reed versus Town of Gilbert, Arizona, we would have to apply that same standard to any sign, not just campaign signs, but any signs that are in violation would have approximately more or less 90 days to pick up their sign before they're cited or fined. The other caution I want to give is the City of Milton versus Chang case is still the law of the land right now. Now, granted, that case overturned decades of legal precedent, and you all voted to join in on the amicus brief. The Supreme Court has decided to take up that case, but until they overturn that, anything that we are aware of that is in the right of way, if it causes injury to a pedestrian, to someone operating a vehicle, and we are aware of it, aware or should have known, then the city will be liable. So again, I just want to make sure that I give those parameters. You all are the lawmakers, you're duly elected officials. It's your job to come up with the policy. I just want to make sure that you're making an informed decision.
Attorney Kelly, I really do appreciate your opinion. But this is the Milton. These are campaign signs, and I have never heard of anyone getting hurt from a campaign sign. I will agree that as long as I've been working on campaigns since 12, and I'm 51, I've never heard of anyone getting hurt because of a campaign sign. What used to be in play is that campaign signs had to be so many feet away from the right of way before we put this punitive ordinance in place with unintended consequences. Do we remember what that footage was? Can you tell me what that footage was?
What footage are you referring to?
Before we put this punitive ordinance in place, we did have a rule that it did allow for this grace period, 45 days and 45 days before and after the election. But there was a rule that the campaign sign had to be so many feet away from the right of way.
I'm sorry, even with that clarification, I'm not sure what video you're referring to.
Before we put this ordinance in place, in plenty of the emails I sent you, I asked for you to pull the ordinance before this ordinance was put in place. In the previous ordinance, before we put this punitive ordinance in place, it had a rule that the campaign signs had to be so many feet away from the right of way. You just made a Milton case, and that was a right of way, but it was so many feet away from the right of way the campaign signs had to be. And other cities are doing it, so it's very common.
So attached to the memo that I sent back in August is a table listing out whether or not certain municipalities give an exception for election signs. My office reviewed East Point, Atlanta, Savannah, Augusta, Richmond County, Columbus, Hapeville, Fairburn, Roswell, Douglas County, Albany, Ackworth, Athens, Clarke County, and Chamblee. And none of these municipalities give the exception that you're referring to here.
I didn't refer to that. What I said is my specific question was how many feet from the right of way are signs supposed to be? That was my question. And second of all, it is, I think, unbecoming for our candidates in the city of South Fulton to have to put signs in another city's border because we can't put signs in our own area because we're so punitive. We're taking candidates to court. I mean, other mayors have been cited for signs, and that's ridiculous. So we're doing something wrong. And so my specific question is, how many feet from the right of way should we say that signs should be? How many feet away from the right of way should the signs be placed? Because that was a rule before we put this punitive process in place.
So I want to be very clear with our language. I don't believe that this is punitive. I believe that this was put in place to align with the Reed case that I cited, that's a United States Supreme Court case, as well as a state law. So I want to be very careful in using words like punitive because I believe the intention in this law was not to be punitive, but to be in compliance with the federal case law as well as state law. My understanding is that code has said it has to be 10 feet from the right of way, and that should be for all signs, not just election signs, but even our own signs. If we, like I said before, if we still have night out signs, those should be taken up as well.
So in my opinion, this current rule is punitive. When I have people constantly calling me, telling me that they are having to appear in court for signs, when I have people calling me saying they're getting cited because certain signs are in windows, when I have certain people calling me complaining about, their signs being pulled up from precincts, and you've heard from several council members to say that it happened to them as well. So in my opinion, it is punitive. So with that being said, I will withdraw my motion and restate it. I would like to move that we have a 45-day grace period before and after the election, with the stipulation all signs should be 10 feet away from the right of way, and no signs be allowed to be posted to the, is it traffic signs, Mayor? Yes. Traffic signs. And that's my motion.
Yeah, well, let me
Second.
get a second first. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, and we're now in
Second. Thank
discussion.
you.
City Attorney Kelly.
So unfortunately, you cannot suspend an ordinance via motion. To make an adjustment or amendment to an ordinance, it has to be done by ordinance. So even if there was a second and a vote today to move to suspend the ordinance, the mechanism to change the ordinance would be another ordinance. So I just wanted to make that clear.
All right, and then, can I, just as point of information, so that will require another 2 reads? Oh, then we're out of the, well, there might be runoff, so it still might be pertinent. Did you go ahead?
So let me ask you something, Attorney Kelly. We often suspend rules here in the city of South Fulton. I'm gonna give you some specific. It is an ordinance that we should not allow people to speak if they are not residents. Several times we have suspended the rules and allowed people to speak. That's an ordinance. We also suspend rules when people have come up here for zoning and to allow people extra time. We have suspended rules to allow people to speak. That's an ordinance. So my question to you, what can we do, since you're saying that we can't suspend the rules, we can't change the ordinance because there's an ordinance, what can we do? Can we make the motion to allow a 45-day grace? Let's forget about the ordinance. Can we just go ahead and make a motion to allow for a 45-day grace with what I just stated? I'm asking you as our attorney to tell me how to do this.
Sure. So I'm going to take those in two parts. So the first part, both of those instances where you say that you can suspend the rules, the ordinance
I
establishing.
didn't say we could. I'm saying those are things that you
I
have
understand.
allowed us to do. Thank you.
I would like to answer your question. In those specific ordinances, it allows you to suspend the rules for those things to occur. In the zoning ordinance, it says that you can suspend the rules to allow them to speak for more than 10 minutes. It's just a minimum of 10. As well as the ordinance about not letting non-members or non-residents of the city of South Fulton speak. In there, it gives you the caveat that you can vote to suspend the rules to allow that. In this ordinance that we have now, there is no mechanism in the current ordinance that allows you to suspend the rules or to give a grace period. And without that, the only way to amend that would be by another ordinance.
Okay, I understand that you have to amend the ordinance through an ordinance amendment. Can you advise me on what we can do to allow a 45-day grace period before and after the election and allowing 10 feet, signs to be placed 10 feet from the right of way? Can you advise me what we can do to allow for the next 45 days and allowing 10 feet signs to be placed 10 feet from the right of way and prohibiting signs to be posted on our traffic signs?
That has to be done by way of an ordinance.
Okay, I withdraw my motion. She has opined that there's no way we can do it unless we do it by way of an ordinance. So I will ask that you bring that ordinance back so that we can vote. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Morale, are you in the queue? Or Councilman Pritchard, are you in the queue?
Yes, I'm in the queue, but I guess since we're gonna talk about this at another time and amend this ordinance, then I guess I'll give my comments at that time.
Okay. And I do think amending the ordinance, we will be able to get it done in time for the runoff, should there be any. Councilwoman Rowell.
You know, it's unfortunate that we sit here and we listen to council, or we disregard what council has advised us as it relates to say, look, because she's been very clear. I don't know what part of that we can sit here and debate. When she cited cases, she's given us case law. And I think this is a terrible look for the public to think that we would set aside or disregard the state law, period. So we can continue to debate, but I don't know what direction we're going on. This seems to be a repeated pattern.
All right, Mr. Clerk. The chair recognizes whoever's next. Oh, Williams Brown.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Yes, we got second, yeah.
So,
Second.
so many things are happening. Let me just make sure that we, and I will remind us, we all have parliamentary training next Thursday. Did we have a motion on the floor? Or had it, I think, but no, I want to be clear, we've withdrawn the last motion.
Yeah, so her
Okay.
motion stands, and it was a
Okay.
second.
And we can entertain them. I don't need to entertain a motion to adjourn. A motion to adjourn can just be made. All right, there's been a motion to adjourn made and seconded,
And a second.
and a second. Let's take this vote by a show of hands.
Court, that motion approved unanimously. We are adjourned at
Yeah, I moved to,
Thank you.
okay, bye, y'all.
Attorney Kelly, I look forward to you having that minute